There you go, a bit of help from the Beatles, 1965, and I've got a feeling I might need some help today because we've got a busy show. Now today we're joined by James Sheridan. Morning, James.
Morning, Kevin. How you doing?
How you doing? All right?
Yeah, good, thank you.
James, now you are an ambassador for the Shepway Sports Trust, but you're also a champion in your own sport. So just tell us briefly what your sport is.
So I compete in the sport of bike trials. Bike trials originated in Spain. It was developed by a father and son who originally were into motorbikes, and they wanted to develop something that people from a young age could do. And bike trials is all about jumping over lots of obstacles, logs, rocks, and not putting your feet down in the process, and also under time.
Oh wow! So, oh wow, that sounds really exciting. So stay where you are, James. But we also want to introduce to us Brian. Morning, Brian.
Morning, Kev.
Now you're from the Redoubt Sailing Club. So tell us a little, just briefly, about the Redoubt Sailing Club.
Yeah, we're a small local club based on the Martello Lakes down at West Hythe. We were formed in 1967, and we basically enjoy a bit of racing down there. We do a bit of social sailing, and we teach young and old to sail.
Oh, right. Okay, sounds really exciting. Now, it's a bit of a hidden treasure, the Redoubt Sailing Club, because you can't see it from the road, can you? You've got to really kind of look for it, haven't you?
Yeah, we're just behind the rifle ranges. Which is hidden. It was the old quarry, what was the Nichols Quarry site.
Yeah. Okay, and you're very busy down there at weekends?
Yeah, we tend to race on a Sunday during the day, and we also do a race on a Wednesday evening, but we do race all year round, unlike a lot of clubs who sail on the sea.
Okay, so there you are. That's the intro to our special guests, James and Brian. So we've got a great hour coming up, but for the moment we're going to go back to a bit of music and play a bit of Gold. Now then, we're going to bring Brian back in now. Brian from the Redoubt Sailing Club. So, Brian, thanks for coming in this morning and bringing Abbey in as well. Now, Redoubt Sailing Club, we've found out where the club is, how long it's been going. I mean, how big is the lake in sort of facility-wise, and what have you got down there?
Yeah, we've got an old clubhouse which keeps us dry when it's pouring over rain, but we've also got a shower block, toilets. But the beauty of where we sail is we're in Land Lake. We've got a bit of a point there, so we can launch boats easily no matter what the wind direction and no matter what the strength. So it actually makes it very easy to get on and off the water no matter what the conditions are for old and young. Right, so conditions obviously play a major part in sailing. Now, we've had a blustery old week, really. Would it have kept your sailors off the water? Well, the more experienced sailors, they'll be out on the water this weekend, regardless of probably what the wind strength is, and that's the beauty of sailing down on the Redoubt. Yeah, if you was on the sea, you would probably struggle to launch with the waves, and etc. Do you think that having a lake right next to the coast is kind of good for blustery conditions? Well, I mean, if you were like 50 miles inland, it might be quite calm. Yeah, actually, it's brilliant down the Redoubt because for the best part of the year, we do benefit from a sea breeze. So we get consistent winds, which is unusual for an inland water. Yeah, okay, yeah, great. So, I mean, boat-wise, if you've got a big boatyard as such, it's good speaking to you, Brian, because I don't know anything about sailing, so this is like virgin territory for me. So, I mean, I go down there, I see the clubhouse, I see where you launch, but I see all these boats there. So tell us about the range of boats you've got. What tends to happen is we have quite a large variety of club boats, which new members, complete novices can come and use and have their first taster of sailing. And then from that, once people get more experienced, they tend to want to get into their own boats, buy their own boat, try something that's not standard, and get used to sailing something different. But, we can introduce a young person to an Optimist sailing dinghy, which is really the entry level stuff. Get on the water, have a nice, comfortable, safe sail, and then progress from something like an Optimist up to a topper, or maybe they want to sail with somebody else in a two-person boat, right. Father and daughter, or brother and sister, etc. Yeah. Do you run classes for schools or for cadets? Yeah, we're classed as an RYA on-board club. RYA is the Royal Yacht Association. They're the governing body for sailing in the UK, and we do introductory sailing courses, which is based under the onboard flag for scout groups, for school groups, for various different societies around the locality, really. And is there like a minimum age for these children, or does it depend on size? And to be honest, kids we wouldn't accept any kids younger than 7.
Yeah.
You've got to really be able to put into practice what an instructor asks you to do.
Yeah.
So it's a really good thing for children to learn. It teaches them independence, teaches them that there are consequences to their actions.
Right.
But you've got to be able to follow instruction at a young age.
Okay. Well, Brian, we're going to play a bit of music now, but we want to come back. I want to know about the sort of safety aspect, and I want to know, as I don't know anything about sailing, I'm a novice. I turn up. What you're going to tell me, how you're going to brief me, that sort of thing. But for the moment, we're going to move on, and we've got a bit of music now from 2008 from The Script.
105.9 Academy FM.
Saturday Sport. You're listening to the Sports Ferret on Academy FM.
Academy FM.
Gonna camp in my sleeping bag. I'm not gonna move.
There you go, from 2008, The Man That Can't Be Moved by The Script. Now we're going back to Brian. So Brian, we want to know a little bit about, I'm a novice, I turn up, I haven't got a clue, I've never been on the water before. Where do we start?
Yeah, you would have you'd be introduced to an instructor, and an instructor would point out to you the boats, how to sail a boat, what the safety aspects are. You've got to have a buoyancy aid on yourself before you even enter on to the pontoon. Just stand by the water. And we'll be talking about what may happen, when you're on the water, where the wind direction is coming from, and then at some point you'd then be asked to have a basic control of the boat, but under instruction.
Yeah. So would your initial contact with the water be like in a two-man, or is it bigger than that?
You wouldn't go out on the water on your own to start with. You'd go out with an instructor just for a joyride to start with.
Yeah.
Just have a feeling of what it feels like to be on the water.
Right. So the instructor then could get the feel of how good or bad, if I'd sea legs or what, if I was hanging over the side and wanted to get back on land, and then progress. And so what would be the first sort of size of boat? I mean, you've got all these lovely names: Topper, Optimist, Laser, Solution. What would be the sort of basic learning boat that I would go into?
First
then
basic boat that you would probably get into with an instructor would be, down at our club, would be an RS Vision, which is a large, very stable, multiple person boat. Actually could take 2 or 3 adults, give you a bit of space, because actually as you progress you tend to go to a smaller boat where you're a bit more cramped, when you actually have to move your body around a lot more.
Okay, yeah, to sort of control the boat and throw it over like you see, and then that boom comes over and knocks you into the water. When no doubt it's happened. Yeah. Now they want to say good morning to Abbey. Good morning, Abbey. How are you?
Hi.
Yes, thanks for coming in. Now, you're very brave coming in, and just you've been asked to just have a little chat on the radio, but your dad's brought you in. So how old are you, Abbey?
I'm 12.
You're 12, but you've been sailing for a while. When did you start sailing?
I started sailing when I was 7.
7, right. Did you take to it straight away, or was it Dad said, come on, you're 7 now, we're off down the lake? Did you get on with it immediately? Did you love it? Not sure.
Not really sure.
It took you a while to get into it, did it?
Yeah.
So now, do you really like it now?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you get down there every weekend, or just?
Yeah, we go down every Sunday.
Yeah.
And
good.
race.
And you race. That's another side I want to talk to your dad about, racing. So how many youngsters do you get down there? Do you get the parents bring the children down, or you do classes at weekends?
Yeah, we get a variety now. What tends to happen is we run courses earlier in the year, from the end of April through May, and we try to get as many youngsters on the waters as possible. And then from that, a lot of them want to move on, possibly join the club and actually do some racing. And the great way for kids to get out there on the water is to go out with their mum or dad to start with. Yeah. And be part of a team. Is that they really, really do thrive once they've been out there for a little while and they've done a bit of sailing.
Get a taste for it. Yeah, okay. Right, well, we're going to move on and play a bit more music, but then we're going to talk about the racing scene, and then I think we're going to find out if there's any little budding champions down at your club down there. So, okay, what we got next? From 1974, we've got a bit of Listen to the Music and the Doobie Brothers. Just before we played a bit of music, we were talking about members of your club and perhaps how far up the tree they've got. I mean, have you got any superstars down there?
Yeah, we've had many young kids and adults as well that have gone on to represent the county, Kent. And my oldest daughter, Hannah, she sails for Kent at the minute.
Does she?
But we've got other members who've gone on to compete nationally and still do, and also have gone on to World Championships and also eventually end up at the sailing at the Olympics. So, sailing's a sport that's open to all, really.
Yeah. I must admit that not so long ago I had a few days in the Isle of Wight, and that is like the mecca for sailors, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I tell you, you couldn't get a wink of sleep anywhere, because then, I don't know, when those sails are up and the wind is bashing the sail against the boom, whatever it is, the mast, it's just constant. But we had a trip around the island, and it's just a haven. And we were actually at Cowes, where it must be the start of the Round the Isle of Wight race. There's a great big arrow on the wall there. Have you been around the Isle of Wight?
Yeah, I've done the Isle of Wight. I've competed at Cowes Week, which is a huge event nationally, the biggest sailing event of the year for sailing in the UK.
Yeah. Right, okay, so now then, your club, you've been going since how long?
We were formed in 1967.
67, and I mean, is there, because it's a quarry, I mean, is there any sort of restrictions on people turning up and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, because we are a sailing club based on what is effectively Nichols Leisure Park now, where it used to be open access. It's not as easy as it used to be, but to become a member at Redoubt and sail down there, you just need to get onto the website and contact the membership secretary, and she will send you everything you need to get on the water. Okay,
so for local people, as we said, it is a bit of a hidden jewel. I mean, if I didn't know, but I know sort of the road between here and Dymchurch, where tell us how to guide me in.
Yeah, as you're coming out of Hythe, you're driving towards the rifle ranges on your left hand side. As you're coming out of Hythe towards Dymchurch, there's a petrol station there. I think it's the Jet Garage. On the right hand side, you just turn in just there. There's a sign just outside, sign saying Redoubt Sailing Club. You would go in there. Okay.
Now, thanks for coming in, Brian, and thanks to you, Abbey. We just want to say that I mean, we're surrounded by water, but it's strange that you've got a lake just like it can only be 100 yards from the beach, can it?
That's right, yeah.
I mean, it's so popular, which is
it is unusual, and because of that, say we do benefit from a nice sea breeze during the summer, which is absolutely great for sailing at very, very constant conditions.
Right, so now finally, have you got any thank yous? Tell us about your contact points, your website, your Facebook pages.
If you want to, if you're interested in getting sailing on a nice, safe inland venue, which we are, get onto our website, redoubtsailingclub.org.uk, or have a look on Facebook. There's a very active Facebook page there. It gets updated every week, and it's run by its members, and you can always get contact. Any questions, get on there, ask them. There
you are, listeners. If you want to go down, try a bit of sailing, then go down and take your mum and dad down there. You know where it is now. It's just before that garage on the 8259. And so, Brian, thank you so much for coming in. It's been really interesting because, as I say, I don't know anything about sailing, and I've learned a lot this morning. And I'm hoping that the listeners out there will take up your option and come down and visit you. So thanks so much, Brian.
Okay, thanks, Kev. Thanks for having us in.
Okay. Right, there you go. That was Brian and the Redoubt Sailing Club. So time for a bit of music. And what about a Mr. Eddie Grant?
105.9 Academy FM.
Saturday Sport. You're listening to the Sports Ferret on Academy FM.
Academy FM.